make sure that everything is being tracked correctly, which is a superpower. If you need to get the most out of your traffic, these are the steps that you can take that can unlock, easily 10 to 20% more revenue in your business without massive efforts. It's just making sure that those revenue leak areas for concern are patched up, that your tracking links are working. Just being on top of your overall data is already a big step in the right direction.
First thing is the attribution, to be able to tell which session click converts and then to map them. And then you need to have this as quick as attribution as possible. From the perspective of paid media affiliate or even operator that manages their paid media campaigns, the closest to real time is the most important, because then you can quickly stop non-performing traffic. Option A is to integrate every single operator on postback, which is time consuming and in many cases impossible. Option B is to integrate directly with StatsDrone and then to be able to retrieve in easy way these conversion data. So we solve the traffic side, the acquisition side, you solve the operator side.
We're now over 1,700 programs that are live integrated, covering around 3,500 brands. And in the past 2 years alone, we've seen an additional 1,000 brands that have just gone offline. Server to server postback, it kind of works similar to an email read receipt. So you send an email, person opens it, and you get a notification saying, hey, this person's opened your email. Real time, I think it's one of these new buzzwords that are being thrown around quite a lot. So, when we talk about real-time data, I think majority of the time we're really only talking about postbacks, but even when you're integrating postbacks, they're not really real-time.
5 years ago, affiliates, they know the power of this technology and they are advocates for that. So that's the main perspective, I think. But how powerful and economically strong is iGaming industry? We see many platforms outside of the iGaming space entering this market. So that's a huge opportunity.
It's quite an interesting and exciting time to be in the iGaming industry. There's a lot of opportunity for optimization and growth.
Hello everyone, this is Farouk and welcome to RevPanda Live. Today we'll talk about a critical but often overlooked topic, tracking in the iGaming world. From real-time data to server-to-server postbacks, we'll explore the tools, trends, and technology, and also we'll touch base on transparency and trust in our industry. We'll hear them all from two experts, Marcin Kumięga, Business Development Director at Voluum, and Joe Hatch, Head of Product at StatsDrone. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Farouk. Appreciate hosting us, and I'm glad to share a couple of thoughts with our audience.
Yeah,
excellent. Thank you, Joe. Marcin, you were recently at SPC Summit Americas in Florida, right? I hope you recovered the trip, and also I wonder about your experience over there. How was the event?
Yes, I came back a couple of days ago. It was a very interesting show. I've attended SBC New Jersey last year for North America, and this time they combined both LATAM and North America. And it seems that this market, especially American market, is slowly but growing and catching up with the things we've got in Europe for quite some time. Also, this was the first time when I met operators exhibiting at the US show, which is quite interesting trend. And besides that, a lot of partners from LATAM, especially Mexico. It seems that Mexico could be, well, new Brazil maybe even, as with the regulation, some people say over-regulation, but Brazil is now a bit more complicated.
Absolutely. Joe, once again, welcome to the show. And I know that you'll be heading to Malaga. I believe your flight is this weekend. So I'm wondering your plans over there. I think you'll have a speech. So maybe you can tell us more about what you're going to talk, and you can also invite our guests to the event.
Sure, yes. So we'll be at the AFPAPA event in Malaga iGaming Club, flying on Saturday. Our co-founder and CEO, John, is moderating a panel. So like Marcin said, lots of events, always good to meet some customers, operators, and the affiliate programs that we integrate with.
Guys, I'm really curious how you deal with all this iGaming lifestyle, because a lot of traveling. I see that you are, at the stage at many events. What's your secret to staying sane?
Well, I know people who travel much more. So some of my colleagues, they do 10, 15 business trips a year. For me, it's quite okay, manageable. I try to keep it below, around 8, let's say, per year. So it's just the habit. It's a part of your work. Of course, the hardest things is when you need to travel to different time zones and then to recover from the jet lag. But I believe the energy from the events and from this great conversations, business and private conversations, are worth it, and they keep you energized.
I see. And John is flying, right, from the States. I believe it's going to be also a long trip for him.
Yeah, so John and Daryl, co-founders of StatsDrone, they're based in Montreal. So I try not to complain so much being in Malta, so it could be worse.
Absolutely. So, Marcin, I'm going to apply some of your tips for my next travels as well. So I hope it's going to be smooth, but definitely it's amazing industry. I love iGaming. That's why we are all here today. And everyone, Rare Panda Live is brought to you by Pinup Partners, the leading iGaming affiliate program with over 8 years of experience, flexible geo terms, and award-winning reliability. And today's session is sponsored by Income Access. Gentlemen, you are very familiar with Income Access. I know maybe your platforms are also integrated. So it's like we brought the top representatives of the iGaming tracking ecosystem together. So that's fantastic. So before we get started, maybe let's have a round of introduction of yourselves. Maybe you can let us know about your companies as well, your services. So who would like to start first?
Marcin, go on.
Okay, go ahead.
I was about to propose you as well, but you're first. So my name is Marcin Kumięga. I am a business development director in Voluum. I am in AdTech industry for about 10 years, 7 years in affiliate industry, and for about 5 years connected with iGaming. We in Voluum, we help affiliates and operators to scale their user acquisition predominantly by paid media campaigns. So you can think about our platform as Income Access, but complementary Income Access for paid ads. The platform is integrated with Google Ads and Meta Ads, TikTok, and a lot of programmatic networks or platforms like Propeller Ads, Adstera, Reach Ads, and many more. And this is the trend which is now getting more popular in iGaming. So to diversify from SEO only driven acquisition to more channels, including paid media.
Joe, over to you.
Well, what an introduction there. So hi, I'm Joe Hatch, head of product at StatsDrone. I've been the head of product here for the past year, but I've got 10 years experience in affiliate marketing, 8 of those within the iGaming industry, mainly iGaming and financial services. So I was actually a customer of StatsDrone before joining the team, and I've worked closely with Marcin as a customer of Voluum as well. So yeah, I focus mainly on the products, the big data, the integrations, and the automations as well.
So, gentlemen, I will ask the questions, directed to both of you. Sometimes, based on your specialization, I may ask directly to one of you, but of course, feel free to answer any of them. So, to kick things off, could you share your perspective on the current state of tracking within the iGaming affiliate industry? What are the most significant challenges?
I would say, if I may start, that it's getting better from our perspective, from what we see, but still the main challenge is tracking. So if we perceive iGaming industry as a space where affiliates cooperate with operators and they help operators to get new players, so this is like outsourcing of user acquisition services, which is especially here in Europe, which is the essence of iGaming in the perspective acquisition, then for years the tracking was very limited. So basically, affiliates they got some investment for SEO sites usually or for paid media campaigns, and then without a direct connection, they were just checking the results in multiple different affiliate programs like Income Access. So there was not an actual tracking. You were just investing and trying to guess or correlate some results. And as in SEO, it could work in paid media, where you need to invest a lot upfront for getting buying the traffic. This is not very scalable. This is also connected with now this huge popularity of CPA deals versus old school rev share or a hybrid model, where we've got some basic investment for the media to cover the media expense. So the main thing is that there's an awareness of this tracking challenges or difficulties, but in many cases there is no yet a solution. However, as I'm 5 years in iGaming industry, it's getting much, much better.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think just to summarize, it would be, the lack of standards or transparency sometimes when it comes to, getting data and sending data to these programs in a way that is uniform across the ecosystems, for want of a better word. So a bit of context on that. So at StatsDrone, we integrate predominantly with affiliate programs, and the affiliate programs all have different softwares running them. And we're now over 1,700 programs that are live integrated, covering around 3,500 brands. And in the past 2 years alone, we've seen an additional 1,000 brands that have just gone offline. So that's just a small indicator of how fragmented and volatile the market can be in terms of standards and changes and regulatory issues and things like that.
Absolutely. And also, when you're not tracking or measuring the performance, you're not managing it. So for sure, this is something that everyone needs to pay attention. Marcin, I would like to turn to you because server-to-server postbacks is actually a hot topic and it has been applied in the market for a while, but I would like to bring more awareness to it. Last time I checked, we had like over 130 people attending the show. So I would like you to explain it in simple terms, and also maybe you can share with us what advantages it brings compared to the other methods.
Sure. So server-to-server postback, this is the most common name of this technology, but there are also different ways how to call it. This is the technology that exists in ad tech industry for quite a while, around a decade, but in iGaming it is getting more popular. So for iGaming, standard is quite new. Unlike the standard pixel-based tracking, so pixel is the way of sending information from between the sites or parties by storing it in cookies. So this entity, which is called cookie. Postbacks, they send data from one server directly to another. So this is this direct way of interaction. And the main difference is that postbacks, they are first party, so there's no this third party engine. Like imagine you are advertising on Meta with Facebook ads, and then the standard way is to implement Facebook pixel, so third party pixel or Facebook domain. Alternative method is having postback, so your server is directly sending the conversion data to another server, which is then bulletproof in terms of GDPR compliance, in terms of ad blockers, and in many cases much more accurate. So you don't lose data which is stored somewhere else in the cookies.
I see, Joe. Do you have anything to add on that?
No, that's a good explanation. Sometimes I like to give a really oversimplified analogy of this, which is, server-to-server postback. It kind of works similar to an email read receipt. So you send an email, the person opens it, and you get a notification saying, hey, this person's opened your email. It's a bit more complex than that, but that's kind of the concept to say, hey, this person has done an action that we've defined, which would be a conversion, sign up, deposit, and things like that. So it will send limited information back to you so that you can then obviously report on that.
I love how you
really
put it there.
Yes, and I will borrow it from you. And I'm thinking, what's the alternative? Like in that case, pixel, so the old school method, might be like sending it to someone else in the middle, who then would forward the email to you or not, right? So
maybe more like the old school post office. You deliver the letter to the post office with needs a receipt when it's been received.
Or some mails are lost.
Smoke signals, carrier pigeons, who knows?
Well, I definitely need this coffee at my hand. I need to have more, caffeinated today to keep up with you guys. Like the level of the conversation is incredible. Thank you for all these examples. Marcin, I want to turn to you because you guys at Volume do this like every day. It is like kind of one of your top solutions. Are there any limitations or challenges associated with this type of solution?
Yes. So first of all, the operator needs to be able to send server-to-server postback infrastructure. And it is involved or connected on two levels of, let's call it, integrations. Integration is a word that everyone is always afraid of because they know what comes with development investment. So first of all, your backend platform, which is either proprietary or third party, needs to be able to send this data to your affiliate program. And in case of platforms from the market, usually they have this option right now. But if this is a custom, which is very popular, custom backend, then in some cases it requires extra development. It's a simple development, but the tech team needs to know what to code. And the second level is that affiliate platforms like Income Access, they need to send it to the traffic platform, to Facebook ads, or in that case to Volume, if we are a platform used by affiliates, sometimes also operators for their direct in-house paid media activities. Then that platform, either directly backend or affiliate platform, needs to report this conversion. And also Income Access, they have the postback technology and it works smoothly, same like other platforms from that segment, third-party platforms. But if it's a custom affiliate platform, this is what I've seen from biggest US operators. They usually work with their proprietary systems. This is also the gap. So I would call this the main challenge. So the adoption of the technology or capabilities to implement it.
Yeah, just to hop onto that, you mentioned proprietary systems becoming more popular. And if you follow StatsDrone on LinkedIn, you might have seen recently we like to post some of the trends in terms of software that we've integrated with. And this past week, we've actually just posted that proprietary has become the number one software that we're connected with, which is over 15% of our program. So we're definitely seeing proprietary software grow in terms of more companies wanting to maybe control or own the data more, but then that also opens up limitations on the technical capabilities.
Amazing. Joe, I would like to continue with you because I know you work with obviously operators and also affiliates. And there's also kind of an observed movement, from, the traditional methods to real-time data, especially for affiliates. Maybe you can touch base on this and you can tell us more about the importance of it and anything else that you'd like to share.
Sure. Real-time, I think it's one of these new buzzwords that are being thrown around quite a lot. So, when we talk about real-time data, I think majority of the time we're really only talking about postbacks. But even when you're integrating postbacks, they're not really real-time. So often they're batched. They can take maybe 1 hour to show up. We've seen instances where they take 6 hours and sometimes even up to a day to come back. So we are stepping in the right direction when it comes to real-time data. But what is real-time data really? Because it's not something that you can just toggle on and off from a platform. It's not just a setting that you can switch on. But really, like I said before, the standardization of that data, how we use it, how we interpret it, and across the industry not having kind of a clear definition is kind of a bottleneck, because even if we were magically to have real-time data for everything tomorrow, we would probably just be moving data around quicker and still getting confused.
That's exactly what you mentioned. So the first thing is the attribution. So first you need to have the attribution. So to be able to tell which session click converts and then to map them. And then you need to have this as quick as attribution as possible.
Yeah.
From the perspective of paid media affiliate or even operator that manages their paid media campaigns, the closest to real time is the most important, because then you can quickly stop non-performing traffic. So stop burning money. But first you need to have attribution.
Exactly.
So, Joe, regarding the real time, if you can count us like the top bottlenecks, because you were just mentioning about especially technical bottlenecks, maybe it would be useful to inform our viewers today.
Sure. I mean, actual real-time data, I think there's a very good example is a platform called Aphelios. So they're a relatively young new platform, but they have been built on a transaction engine. So actually they do have data streaming. So as soon as you see things in the program, they're able to be extracted or shown in real time, which means you're tracking clicks, you're tracking conversions as they're happening. Obviously, that's not relying on a postback. That's just how their system is built. And I think that's a really good step forward for the industry. But, we still see a lot of people that are running programs that rely on spreadsheets and maybe batch updating their data. It can be updated, once a day, sometimes once a week, and they don't have these kind of API or functionalities that allow extraction of that data in any meaningful way that can be assigned to a program or to your analytics that you can then make data-driven decisions on.
I see. By the way, I can observe we have got questions coming in, so we'll have a Q&A at the end. So anyone who'd like to ask questions to the gentleman, please drop them. We'll address them. We'll allocate some time for it. Marcin, we have spoken about SEO a lot with you whenever we meet at events. Although both of us, we live in Poland, we mostly meet at events, by the way. So that's another iGaming, trick that we are having. So, this year, like in March, and we saw the effects in April as well, there was like another Google algorithm update, and it's really shaking the SEO space. And I would like to ask you more on that. Like, there are definitely some other channels, right, that iGaming affiliates can diversify their acquisition channels, like paid or influencer marketing. Maybe you can a bit, touch base on that. And how is tracking keeping up with that shift, towards the other type of channels to acquire new players?
Sure. So we observe those challenges and changes in SEO space. It is, of course, connected with AI. There couldn't be a podcast without AI topic, right? But, and that's what we see, influence marketing as a pretty, let's call it, relatively new and growing trend. On SBC Americas, this topic was very huge. So on American market, influencers are a very important space for user acquisition. But paid media platforms are also entering this space. So apart from the standards search, which brings the best results in terms of LTV for many operators, or social campaigns, and now we see TikTok getting more popular also in iGaming. For many Curaçao or MG brands, there's also a lot of different alternatives. So many platforms that Voluum used to work with in the past, for example, Propeller Ads or Adstera and dozens of others, they now enter iGaming space and get more inventory for that type of audience. Apart from that, we have programmatic DSPs like Adform or many others, or especially mobile connected platforms. So depending on your licenses, I could name 10, 20, 30 options where you need to allocate, or you can allocate your budget. And the main thing from the perspective of our clients who are skilled with paid media user acquisition is not sticking with one platform, even if it's Google Ads, but diversifying and checking for different options. So for that, you need to have a dashboard, you need to have a platform, otherwise you are lost. Imagine checking in close to real time these dozens of paid media platforms and 20, 15, 50 affiliate platforms where you see the conversion and trying to map it in spreadsheets. You can hire 2 or 3 people to do it, and it will be still lagging behind. The alternative is close to real-time technology, postbacks and automatic sending the information from one platform to other, and a dashboard where you can map it all.
I see. Joe, I would like to continue with the trust topic, because you guys work with both sides of the industry, right? Like the affiliates and operators, and we often hear from our partners like this kind of discrepancies in the reported traffic. And at some occasions it may even undermine the partnerships. And I would like to ask maybe both of you guys, how can robust tracking solutions, the new technologies that we have been speaking today, help build a more transparent and trustworthy partnership?
Sure. I think one thing that's very important in advanced tracking is people want to own their data, right? So if you look back 5 years in the industry, it was very transactional in the sense that I would have an affiliate website, a top list, would drive traffic to that site through whichever channels. And then once the user has clicked on a claim bonus or play now or whatever CTA, they kind of lost into a black hole where we don't really know what's happening with them. So, we're now getting into facing challenges with search engines and ranking and, channels where there's regulation, where it's becoming more important for us to own our own players. But that requires attribution, and attribution can be done on many levels. And even between platforms, their models of attribution changes wildly between first click, last click, where did they come in? And because we're working in such a, small industry relatively, it's often difficult to say, well, this person came from a network, but then they went to this website. So who should be, accredited the conversion? And, owning that data can be done in a few ways. And I think what's important, postbacks don't just solve this issue. Inherently, it requires, additional attribution where you're able to allocate the click ID to a player ID or even to your first party data before the click happens. So you might have 3 or 4 attribution points where I've got a website that has user generated content or a forum and they're signed up. They click on a link. I can now have a click ID at the click level, but that needs to allocate to a user ID in my system. And then once the sign up happens, I want that to relate to a player ID from the partner system. So it gets quite complicated, but the best way for trust building is obviously to be more transparent in terms of, I don't expect an operator to send me, the email address of that player, but if they can return the player ID and I can map that to something meaningful in my system, it makes a lot easier for us to see how those behaviors are growing or falling and how they're changing over time.
Yeah, I agree with that. In many cases, operators, they are afraid of sharing any type of data, even by pixel or postbacks, that this user data, CRM stored user data can be taken by the affiliate and maybe sold to other players. But in postback, you only see something which is very essential, crucial, but very limited, and that's GDPR compliant, the click ID. So anonymous session ID for the particular conversion. And when we speak about attribution, the problem is on many levels. So yeah, there is this difference between last click attribution, which is standardized by most platforms like Income Access, also in Volume, we operate on last click. And it's far from being ideal, but it is accurate. Versus there is the attribution model within the platform, which is sometimes different, and they try to attribute of their own methods. And there is the demand for this customer journey recreation. The industry is trying to get there, and we in Volume, we also have some interesting projects, R&D projects about it. But still, with the last click, you can see, in terms of, especially from an affiliate perspective, you can see the type of activities that are most important for you and most lucrative for your user acquisition. So even having accurate attribution on last click, it's beneficial to you.
Yeah, and just to tack on to the end of that, I think that's something that we've been exploring with Volume for, over a year now in terms of what are the synergies with our tools. So Volume is very good at handling the click attribution, the link management, and obviously the postbacks. And us at StatsDrone, we don't go as deep on the link management side and the click ID. What we do is more on the platform side. So I mentioned before these dynamic variables, click ID is one. We can use things like the time of day that a user clicked to see the difference between a click and a sign up to a deposit. And, we can start building these dynamic variables in ways that platforms are starting to be able to receive. So we've got around 70 to 80% of our programs now supporting this. And obviously closing that loop with the postback is one thing. but it's limited in the information that is being sent back. So, we're actually going on behalf of our customers with our automation, and we're reading these reports and sending them in a aggregated dashboard by grouping those click IDs in a report. So you're able to see things like, clicks, unique clicks, raw clicks, signups, FTDs, CPA commissions, and rev share commissions. And obviously we try and tie that into a bundle where, maybe if you can get a player ID back in the postback, we can then start saying which click ID is which player, and we can start seeing really granularly what's performing from which source or which channel, even down to a page level or an offer level in some cases.
Joe, thank you. I was actually planning to ask that question a little bit later about how the synergy between platforms like StatsDrone and Voluum would work. So if you like, as we are talking about it, maybe you can share more on that, like how iGaming businesses can improve tracking and visibility, especially affiliates, I must say, in this particular case, working together with your platforms, both StatsDrone and Voluum. So a couple of maybe words on that.
Sure. So this is the question on what topic or which area each platform helps. So as StatsDrone, you help with getting in easy way the results from the conversions from all your partners, operators, if I'm an affiliate. We in Voluum, we can tell you which actual ad set ID, publisher, segment of audience for paid media converts. So this is much more granular and nuanced. But in order for us to work, we need to retrieve click ID data directly from a partner. And option A is to integrate every single operator on postback, which is time consuming and in many cases impossible. Option B, and this is something we are now investigating and trying to solve, is to integrate directly with StatsDrone and Voluum, and then to be able to retrieve in easy way these conversion data. So we solve the traffic side, the acquisition side, you solve the operator side, if we can bring it in the funnel. And even if there is no direct integration yet, at this stage you can, in easy way, see the LTV, if you are an affiliate, of the players that Voluum helps you to bring.
Yeah, and both platforms obviously have APIs. So, what we're investigating now is this combined data set of what Voluum is good at, what StatsDrone is good at, and obviously bringing them together into a unified source or a dashboard where you can see exact performance across the whole funnel.
Sounds like an amazing duo here. Marcin, I know that this is a topic from your presentations, past webinars, and also when you're on the stage, you talk about it. So we see more and more land-based brands moving towards the digital space, right? So what unique tracking challenges might they face, and what advice would you offer them to maybe avoid those costly mistakes waiting for them?
Sure. So this is indeed a trend that is on the market for quite a while, and I think it's growing, and a huge challenge for other brands and opportunity for affiliates. I believe the main difference is that in this case, the attribution for land-based operator is much easier or maybe different, and the digital advertising and digital project is completely separated. So they need to start building the attribution models and put some resources into the awareness of that channel. The opportunity they have, so you asked me about challenges, but I would like to turn it around and say about the opportunity, is that they have a huge brand recognition and a huge significant database of players. So this is something with a proper attribution, even by link tracking and click ID, having a simple email campaign or mobile campaign with AppsFlyer, and in Voluum we are integrated with MMPs like AppsFlyer, you can easily see which player converted from your database to the iGaming platform you have. So this is something. Otherwise, you are just spreading and trying to correlate the results, and the departments within your iGaming operation are both challenging the results and trying to accumulate them for themselves.
It's almost like opening up another channel, isn't it? We've got social media as a channel, and now we're slowly seeing land-based convert to digital. So, it's kind of the same theme: attribution and making sure you know what each channel is doing and how it's performing.
Absolutely. Joe, you have been in affiliate space like forever, like a decade, I think you have spent already. And Marcin, at Volume, you work not only with iGaming, but also e-commerce and many other verticals as well. And some people say that iGaming is lagging behind other verticals like e-commerce, for instance, in terms of the tech stack for user acquisition and maybe some retention tools and so on. First of all, I want to ask you if you agree with this, and if yes, what can be borrowed, according to you, from the other industries?
Good question. I think, Marcin, you want to start?
Sure. Yes, we in Volume, we originated in multi-vertical affiliate marketing, so not iGaming space, and then we pivoted to iGaming. Right now, iGaming is our core focus because we see how this technology is needed here, but we still have this connection with other affiliate industries. The main aspect is that, yes, I agree with that. The server-to-server postback at itself, so this technology, if we are speaking at affiliate conference or a typical affiliate conference like Affiliate World Show or Affiliate Summit or e-commerce oriented conferences, there would not be a need to educate about server-to-server postback because this is the essence, this is the basic. Every advertiser supports it, every affiliate network. Here in iGaming, this technology is getting there, and I'm very positive. As when we entered this space 5 years ago, there was even the phrase server-to-server postback was unknown. And now it's getting more popular. Affiliates, they know the power of this technology and they are advocates for that. So that's the main perspective, I think. But with the how powerful and economically strong is iGaming industry, we see many platforms outside of the iGaming space entering this market. So that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree. Lagging behind, absolutely. I think maybe I call it slightly less mature to try and put a positive spin on it, but we can see that the industry is maturing. And, just speculatively and in my experience, I think that we've come from kind of the big boom of gaming, and, it was making a lot of money and it was, less harshly regulated. And I don't like to use the word Wild West, but it kind of was. There were times where, people and companies are making so much money that you didn't have to be so careful with every click and try and get as much value out of each click and conversion as maybe that you do now. There's a lot of, Google updates that make ranking for casino sites much more difficult. And you can look at kind of lifetime revenue share deals that are bringing in passive revenue, and it's harder to get new customers. So, we're looking at new channels. And I think just what we can borrow from the industry is more, the theme of this really is the attribution model and making sure that we're not just blindly sending traffic somewhere that, that is compliant, that it's being tracked, it's being attributed, and we're able to start building, that ownership of our data and building our own kind of list. Because if we hand a player as an affiliate over to an operator, we're not really seeing their efforts in terms of CRM or reactivation and bonuses and what they're doing to keep that player active, but we're passively taking, revenue share or CPA from the introduction. Now, if we go down the line of having control over that data funnel and we own our players, we can see if this specific player stops playing, and we can look at our own reactivation, or maybe they don't want to be with this operator anymore. We can look at retargeting, so there's definitely a lot of stuff, especially retargeting and reactivation, that we're not doing so much at the moment, or we are doing, but it's mainly from the operator side. And, that's apparent in things like, player account management tools in operators and not in affiliates.
Right. This actually brings me to the next question I wanted to ask you about, Joe. You have been talking about CRMs so far, all this player journey and everything. And yes, we have got like major CRM solutions in the market, especially for operators. But do you see a gap in the market for, how to call it, for an affiliate CRM? let's say a technology specifically designed to enhance affiliates' internal tracking and management capabilities to save them from all the spreadsheets that you were talking about. If there is something like this, what would be the key feature of such a system?
Yeah, it's quite complex on operator CRM, and there isn't much out there on the affiliate side, not commercially at least. I know that the affiliates that are doing really well, they are building these tools in-house. And what does that system look like? It's a big topic. So you're not just sending traffic anymore, sending clicks. You're looking at a way of managing your inventory, your money pages, your deals, the commercials, insertion orders. You've got to keep an eye on things like performance, and it's that personalization and first party data that can be built into a system where you're able to really quickly see, who am I advertising, where am I advertising, and how are they performing. That forms kind of the foundation of a CRM. But then you've got so much more on terms of like link management, which promotions, which links, where are your links displayed? And we talk a lot at StatsDrone about revenue leak. And, it's very easy to have revenue leak out of your business from things like closed brands. You can still see how many hundreds of thousands of people still link to an exchange like FTX, even though you click the link and it takes you to an FBI seized landing page. So every click that's wasted is revenue leak for the business. So an affiliate leveraging a CRM is just a roundabout way, making sure you're on top of that data and trying to get the most out of your own traffic.
You talk about the first party data, which is the key data point over here to run all the next activities that you were mentioning. And maybe we can ask you a bit more on that, like how can affiliates leverage their first party data for player reactivation or anything else to add the value over there? Maybe you can shed more light on this.
Yeah, so if you're a product and you've got user-generated content or any system where a user logs in, and like I said before, personalization, you're already tailoring that experience to an individual. When I say first-party data, that's data that you own. You have your system that has maybe their name, their email, their phone number, whatever information for using your service, right? So you can then look at, instead of a random click ID that's generated on the spot when the action happens, is maybe having some identifier in the click ID that relates to a person from your system. So now you're actually seeing that Joe Hatch came onto the website and these are the offers that he is signed up for. And with attribution, you would then be able to say, okay, so Joe Hatch is this ID in my system. This was the click that happened for this brand. The conversion happened and this was their player ID and they've now stopped playing. Maybe it was, untagged, maybe they've stopped playing, but you can see based on their history and their behavior on your site, what their preferences are. And then you can look at things like, is it because they wanted to stop gambling or they've self-excluded, in which case, that's not always information you get straight away, but you can tailor your approach. So as an affiliate, if you're able to then retarget to somebody and say, hey, you previously signed up to Bet365, you've stopped playing, here's another offer from similar brands, so it's about not just being transactional with your players, but having the CRM, understanding your positioning, but also understanding your traffic as an affiliate and what that looks like from the operator side as a player or a gambler.
This sounds very important and also very difficult. So in some cases, it's a holy grail, because the first challenge is for an affiliate to capture email address or something personalized. You still could have the first party, so own the data, which is more aggregated, like in terms of the type of audience that performs the best for you, which states, which cities, for which type of brands, whether this type of publisher or keywords in Google, or which type of ad set ID converts best for what type of content. And this could help you to optimize your future user acquisition efforts. Of course, it won't be able to help you with retargeting, but this is another level of statistically vital information, especially important for the platforms where you buy the traffic, you pay for the traffic.
And let's continue with more inputs from you because I see a couple of questions are lining up. So I would like to allocate a bit more time on that. But before we move there, if I ask one piece of advice for iGaming affiliates, especially, to have a future-proof business, what would you say, gentlemen?
I can jump in, and I think it's probably just the culmination of everything that we've discussed today in terms of own your data, fix your aggregation, make sure that everything is being tracked correctly, which is a superpower. If you need to get the most out of your traffic, these are the steps that you can take that can unlock, easily 10 to 20% more revenue in your business without, massive efforts. It's just making sure that those revenue leak, areas for concern are patched up, that your tracking links are working. Just being on top of your overall data is already a big step in the right direction.
And I would say, as an advice, diversify. So there's much more platforms and opportunities for user acquisition than you probably are right now using and investigating. So with the stream of amount of platforms, every conference or almost every conference, I encounter a new paid media platform or DSP that is entering from e-commerce space, setting up departments for iGaming. A very interesting project which now we have with Taboola, as a very well-known native ads platform, is that they are focusing on iGaming and opening up their inventory. So this is a huge opportunity, native ads.
Absolutely. And from my side, if we can add something, I would definitely recommend having a test budget, because you guys have been mentioning a lot today on different solutions. And I think operators, affiliates, if they can just allocate a test budget and some resources, let's say for the upcoming year, for instance, it would be really fantastic to discover them. So definitely, we have a lot of geniuses in the market, and it would be great for the brands and affiliates to, discover or maybe explore new services and solutions. Joe, Marcin, thank you for your insights. We have covered a lot today, from the evolution of tracking technologies and the growing importance of real-time data, and also touch base on how affiliates can future-proof their business models, how they can use first-party data and embrace some smarter tools. And I've got a couple of questions that I would like to address, and let me just go ahead and ask the first one. What percentage of affiliates or even operators are using advanced tracking technology and have their own BI dashboards or team? So probably it goes to you, Joe.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to quantify. Obviously, you don't meet many operators or people that say, hey, we don't have these tools. But from conversations that we've had, the estimate is as low as 10% of people are actually using proper BI tools to analyze, their traffic and their audience. And that 10%, we joke, it's almost like you need analytics for your analytics, where, having a dashboard and using it are very different things.
Marcin, anything to add on that?
I would say we don't see a clear percentage, but we see that it's not very common for affiliates to have Tableau or Power BI dashboards that they integrate with, but it's getting there. So this is a new trajectory, especially for the bigger projects. For smaller ones, it's still mostly getting the access for their own income access dashboards, or affiliate-based dashboards. So even having platform like StatsDrone is a huge improvement in that case, and there are very few who use it.
We've got a question from YouTube. I guess this needs to be addressed to income access, but maybe that postback is mentioned on their documents, FAQs, but it is accessible from their back office. So I don't know if you have any knowledge on that. If not, I will direct our viewer to income access right away.
I don't have the exact answer off the top of my head. What I do know is that part of postbacks is relying on these dynamic variables, and these dynamic variables can also be accessed in different types of reports. Mm-hmm. For income access specifically, it's your ACID report. So if you're sending, let's say, a click ID, we've integrated this where we would then be looking for that click ID grouped by click ID from their ACID report. For other platforms, it might be their registrations or their earnings report. So while you don't always have a postback log, let's say, or here's a list of the postbacks that we have sent you from the operator side, there are ways of seeing which events may have happened based on those dynamic variables.
I see. Marcin, there's a question for you. Voluum has great education content via the academy, but how long would it take someone to get comfortable using Voluum and being able to use for postback and being comfortable with paid media?
So there are two different topics, and in terms of starting with Voluum using our platform, we have a very good personalized onboarding process for our clients, account managers. So I would say first week is the education, learning how to set up the first campaign or campaigns. So, and the other question for starting with paid media, this is more complicated. So the best is to hire someone who is specialized in managing paid media campaigns, former affiliate. This is a very common case. Or someone who is experienced in Google Ads, Facebook Ads, and scale the team around it. Because this is a different set of competences than being an affiliate manager.
I see. Thank you, Marcin. These are all the questions that I got for today, and I believe there will be more, but maybe you can let our viewers know about how they can reach you directly.
Sure.
Maybe LinkedIn is good. I see you guys are very active.
We're very active on LinkedIn, LinkedIn or joe@statsdrone.com to get hold of me.
Yeah, for me the same. LinkedIn is the best channel. Directly email marcin.kumięga@voluum.com, or I would say Skype in the past, but I'm also available on Telegram, WhatsApp. So that's then we can continue.
Absolutely. Before we wrap it up, gentlemen, do you have anything else to add?
I would say there's an opportunity in terms of technology, and the market is, as you said, Joe, it's getting more mature. It's getting more technologically adapted.
I completely agree with Marcin. It's quite an interesting and exciting time to be in the iGaming industry. There's a lot of opportunity for optimization and growth. And, what we've discussed today is barely scratching the surface. I think we could probably have a full day of similar conversations and get quite deep on this. So, if you want to get ahead, I would say use tools like StatsDrone, Voluum. They work well together. We've got some partnerships in place as well. So if you're using one or both of us, we've got common customers, get in touch and we'll start seeing how we can combine our data sets together. And if you don't use us, it's a good opportunity to check.
Absolutely. And we talk about it today, how our viewers, they can leverage the powerful duo of Voluum and StatsDrone. So that is very useful for everyone. And once again, I would like to thank you, gentlemen, for all your insights today. And our session is brought to you by Income Access, and Repanda Live is powered by Pinup Partners. So thanks to your support. Everyone, if you found today's session valuable for you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with your network. And I'll see you all at the next Repanda Live session. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.